Two guys in their early 50s with one dream, to achieve middle-aged sporting glory. This is the Missing Links Golf Show. We're back, Pilgrims, for 2026. Andy Walker, it's been a couple of weeks since we've had the opportunity to have a chat, but so good to see you. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and all the rest of that sort of malarkey. But welcome back, my friend.
Yes, welcome back to the Missing Links Golf Show.
And there he is, Richie Beno, fresh from the Sydney Cricket Ground as we hit record. We're still basking in the afterglow of that magnificent 4-1 victory over the old enemy. What were your thoughts? Actually, before we get to that, should we explain to the non-Australian and English pilgrims exactly what on earth we're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, we did briefly mention it sort of towards the end of last year because the English, they got off to a great start, as we all know.
Did they?
So, yeah, so so for those non-cricket playing nations, the Ashes is the oldest and certainly from our perspective the best cricket series in the world. It's Australia versus England dates back a very, very long time, 100 and something years, back into the late 1800s. I think it was it the late 1800s.
Well,
do you know when the Ashes first?
Interestingly, I'll have to dig into the archives on this one, but one thing that I can tell you is that 2027 is going to be the 150th anniversary. Sorry, not episode. We do episodes. The Ashes is not done in episodes. 2027, there will be a special one-off test match between Australia and England.
Yeah, right.
To celebrate the 150th anniversary of the first test between the two countries, which was played 150 years prior, back in 1877. And I'm not sure exactly when the first Ashes test was played, but as a result of that first test match, which Australia won, the bales were burnt allegedly by the wives and girlfriends of that original English team and put in a tiny little 4-inch high urn, the ashes of said bales, and presented back to the English cricket team with the epitaph of here is the cremated body of English cricket which died on this day. So, yeah, there's a few little shady kind of, I suppose, stories about exactly when that took place, when that urn was presented. The first Ashes test there certainly has been going for a very, very long time, from if not the late 1800s and very early in the 1900s, but it's an incredible rivalry, and we've just finished the 5-test series, Australia picking up the win in the last to take it 4-1, which, look, I think it was a pretty fair representation of the two teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And the way they played, I think that the English came out here with a fair bit of, well, let's just say confidence.
Confidence, yeah. I was hoping that you were going to use that word, yeah. Not the A word.
A couple of other terms probably more appropriate, but let's just say confidence. And I think they got found out with their style of cricket, which they play, which seems to just be one way. And as we know, not just cricket, sport in general, you can't just have one gear. You've got to have gears, and you've got to manage your game to whatever the conditions are on the day. And it just seems as though England didn't do that out here. But look, I mean, they did have some bright spots. I mean, they did win a test down at the MCG. I believe they had a good time up at Noosa from what I
by all
I
accounts,
hear.
I believe so. I think there's a couple of other things.
Joe Root's
performance was fantastic.
And I have to say, as much as, you know, there's a massive rivalry and it's great to see the English just get absolutely walloped, Joe Root just seems like the nicest guy, and I'm really happy for him to have made a couple of tons, obviously scoring 100 runs in Australia has been sort of something that's eluded him throughout his test career, just illustrious test career, made prolific scorer of runs throughout, well, just about every place that he's played. And I think it's really good to see him just tick that box just to complete his test career. I congratulations, I would say, to Joe Root, because I think he thoroughly deserves it.
Totally agree with that. I'd also say that the English have found some quality in Jacob Bethel. His 160 odd in the third innings was absolutely spectacular, a very special night. Yep. And he to me looks like a very, very high quality player. He's only 22. We're going to see him for many more Ashes summers to come. Definitely he was a bright spot.
And I think he showed up the English batters as to how you really need to play in Australia. And it looked like he'd been out here and played in however many summers. But this was his first tour of Australia. And, I think he absolutely nailed the conditions of the day.
I think if you look at his success and you look at Joe Root's success, the two guys that made hundreds, Joe Root made 200s and Bethel obviously made one in his, only played 2 tests, so he didn't have a huge amount of opportunity. And one of those was at Melbourne, which was an absolute minefield. So the less said about that, the better. But when you look at the two batters that actually had success, the reason that they did is that they played proper test cricket. They were scoring at strike rates of around about 60 to 70. They weren't trying to belt every ball for 4. And, in Australia, faster pitches, balls bouncing a little bit more than the UK, you can't go hard at everything because you're going to nick stuff. And these two guys, they were patient. They played straight. They played good shots. They put the bad balls away, but they didn't play stupid shots. And that's why they had success. And this is like my follow-on point to this is Harry Brook, who has been rated the number 1 test batsman in the world, is currently rated number 2 behind Joe Root. I don't know who is doing these rankings because, seriously, Harry Brook to me looks like a park cricketer trying to have a go at test cricket. If he were to develop some sort of sense of game awareness and put a brain between the ears for 5 minutes, he could become dangerous. But if he continues to go the way that he has shown during this series, he's going to be the sort of guy that makes good 30s and 40s and then gets out. If he gets past the first ball of charging down the wicket and trying to slap a 6, that's just ludicrous. So I think...
and look, I think there's a few of the English batters in that camp.
Well, Jamie Smith is another, their wicketkeeper.
Jamie Smith and
Will Jacks proved himself in there.
Yeah, I was going to say, Will Jacks today, second ball,
seriously,
just decides to have a slog to cow corner and
they were in the game.
Gets out. Yeah,
they were in the game. Another 50 runs. And that's a dangerous chase.
100%. So to hang around and support Bethel, which should have been his MO, that's, I don't understand it. So, again, it looks as though they're bringing, or I don't know about park cricket, but certainly it looks like they're trying to bring 2020 cricket to test cricket, and that's just not going to work, and certainly not on pitches in Australia, which are bouncy, and you've got top quality bowling in the likes of Mitchell Starc and Scotty Boland, who are going to find you out.
Absolutely.
We didn't even have Paddy Cummins. I mean, he played 1 test
or Josh Hazlewood played 0 tests.
Exactly. Yeah. And then Nathan Lyon was injured for half the series as well. So I think that they need to go and reassess what they do when they come back to this country.
As you know, I'm always one for sitting on the fence with these sorts of things. So I don't want to make any black and white statements, but I firmly believe the first thing that needs to happen post this series is that Brendan McCullum needs to be let go as the coach. I think that the combination of McCullum and Stokes as the leadership of that group has created this cultish bubble of belief that everything that they view about the game is right, and anyone that disagrees with them doesn't know what they're talking about. For mine, there is just no accountability for poor performance and poor decision-making in the group. And, the likes of Harry Brook and Jamie Smith, I just don't think are ever going to achieve their potential until they have someone who holds their performances to account and forces them to actually grow and develop and change the player. Brendan McCullum is not the man to do that. So if I was in charge of English cricket, the first thing I'd be doing in the wash-up of this series would be saying to Brendan, thanks very much. The guys have learned a lot from you, but it's time that we part ways and go in a different direction. And to be honest with you as well, off the back of that, I would have serious questions about Ben Stokes as captain. I think tactically he was a bit of a one-trick pony, which was, and in some respects he was forced to, but basically when the going got tough, it was like, just give me the ball and let me bowl myself into the ground and hope something happens.
And he did bowl himself into the ground.
He did.
In the end.
He did. So I don't know. I don't think he is. He might be an inspirational player, in the vein of an Andrew Flintoff or someone like that, but I don't think he's a captain. I really don't.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, look, I mean, and I think Ben Stokes has a lot of great qualities. I really respect, he's got resilience. He's obviously a highly competitive, doesn't give an inch. And I respect those qualities. But there is
100%.
an element, there is an element of what I'm doing is right and I'm not listening to anyone else. And I don't think you can do that in any endeavor in life, let alone at the top of, the elite level of sport.
Well, I mean, you can do it and he is doing it. I don't think you can succeed doing it though. And that, you've got to have a look at what worked. If you're in, the English leadership on this one, you've got to have a look at what worked, and what worked was playing proper Test cricket, putting the head down, grafting it out, doing the hard yards. What didn't work was getting slap happy and throwing a wicket away. And quite honestly, that was the difference. Look, there wasn't a lot else in it. The Australian batting was wobbly. I mean, we haven't talked about the Aussie batting at the moment, but if I was picking that apart, I'd say obviously Travis Head got some great numbers. I still don't think technically he's going to be a long-term opener. There's just too many chances that will get given there. He doesn't move his feet. He's just not, like, it worked, sure, but will it work often? I don't know. Jake
I don't know. He's just done it often enough.
I know.
Maybe it will.
I know. Maybe, and maybe it's the best thing for him. Maybe he needs to really be under the pump to bring out his best. I don't know. Jake Weatherald, I don't think is a Test opener. He's technically flawed. I mean, the head falling across and exposing the LBW decision, which the English bowlers were good enough to get on, I think, 4 or 5 occasions during the series. But, if he was playing against the likes of Bumrah or, South Africa, and we're playing South Africa in the not too distant future, Kagisa Rabada, those types of guys, I just don't think Weatherald, unless he can sort out that technical issue, is good enough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you saw what he was like against Jofra Archer. I mean, Archer cleaned him up.
Yeah, I know.
Very quickly in Perth.
Yeah, and the head being that far across, I mean, it's just for a player at that level, and it makes you ask the question: what is Michael Divenuto doing as batting coach of the group? Like, and I know that question has been asked publicly as well, and it should be asked. Marnus at number 3, he was okay without really doing anything great. Steve Smith, obviously, fantastic innings in Sydney. That was the Smith of old, but they starting to become fewer and further between those innings.
They are.
And then you've got what else we got?
Uzi's retired.
Uzi going and has to.
Yeah.
Like, I think we saw that he's just slowed up in the last 12 months.
Yep.
Alex Carey, my goodness, I don't think I've ever seen a better keeping display. From a keeper of any country than what he put together.
I mean, for him to stand up to the stumps to Michael Nessa and Brendan Doggett. Obviously Doggett didn't play in Sydney
and Boland up to the stumps to Scotty Boland.
Like that is just
incredible.
Outstanding.
People will talk about his, what did he have, 27, 28 dismissals during the series, and obviously made a lot of runs as well and made an incredibly important 100 in Adelaide, I think it was. But him standing up to the stumps to the likes of Nessa and Boland, I actually think that went a long way to negating the effectiveness of the Bazball approach from the English batsmen because it didn't allow them to come down the wicket and really take those bowlers on, which I know would have been part of their plan. And every time he stepped back, they tried to do that. So I think he actually, by doing what he did and did it so well, was really dominant. But far out, that just takes such skill and such courage. That's nuts.
Yeah,
that's nuts.
Absolutely. I mean, at that speed, bowling sort of 130s.
These guys were bowling 135 comfortably.
Any edge off the bat, you're in serious danger of. I know he's wearing a helmet, but even still,
it's more broken fingers.
Yeah, like you're going to do some damage if you get it wrong.
Yeah, but just incredible keeping. So technically, I don't know. I think the upshot of that is he's hands down the number one keeper in world cricket and probably one of the best that Australia's ever produced.
Yeah, 100%.
As a keeper. And pretty handy batsman as well. And again, seems like a really good guy. So good luck to him.
100%. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on Cam Green versus Bo Webster?
At the moment, I'm going to plagiarise some of the commentary that went on actually during this test match. I can't remember who it was that was saying this. It might have been. It doesn't matter. But I agree with it. The point is that Bo Webster looks like a guy that's an old pro, like he's done the rounds of Shield cricket, county cricket. He knows his game. He knows it inside out. He knows what works. He knows his limitations. He knows his strengths, and he plays to that. And he's very consistent and he's very solid. Cam Green, by the same token, is a player who so many people have talked about how much potential he has, but he doesn't understand his own game yet. He doesn't really know how to go about it. And look, if I'm an Australian selector, I'm saying to Cam Green, go back and play some Shield cricket, probably go and get a contract with a county over in the UK, if you can now, because the ECB are tightening that up because they don't want the Aussies to get experience in England before the next Ashes. That's funny.
Yeah.
The upshot to that, English Cricket Board, if you're listening, is you might actually have a bit more experience playing against Australian players. But anyway, don't worry about that. So I guess, look, at the moment for mine, I'd be picking Bo Webster over Cam Green.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Bo Webster looks so much more comfortable in control as a test cricketer than what Cam Green does. And I don't think you can pick someone on potential. I think
how long has this been going on for now? We picked him on potential for nearly 5 years.
Yeah. And there's got to be more than that. There's got to be some substance behind it in order for that justification of being picked in the side. Yeah,
I think there's no harm in being left out for a little while and go and find yourself. Plenty of the greats of the game in Australia have done that. The War Brothers have done that. Ricky Ponting's done that. There's been plenty of quality Australian batsmen that have had a run and then been told, you know what, we're not doing you any favours by continuing to just put you up there and fail.
Yep.
Go away and figure it out, come back better. And I think that's what he needs, personally.
Yeah. Yep.
Will that happen?
I agree.
Probably not, but that's okay.
Yep. And what about the bowling unit, just to round it off?
Oh, look, I think...
how good's Starkey?
I know, that's exactly what I was going to say. Look, Mitchell Starc, player of the series, deservedly so. Head and shoulders above, and he carried the attack for 5 tests. Just penetrates, and the guy. What is he now? He's in his. I think he's nearly 35. 30,
yeah, he's mid
35, something like that.
Yeah, mid 30s.
And bowling, fast bowling, is extremely hard work on the body, and he's bowling in the mid 140s. Consistently, which is over 90 miles an hour in the other language, but it's just amazing and shaping the ball both ways, always at you, always dangerous. Just next level. He was head, shoulders, and torso above any other bowler in the series,
and reason why he got man of the series.
Yeah, no question. And I think you could argue Travis Head with 3 centuries. Even Alex Carey had probably a reasonable claim at that. Joe Root maybe, but just wasn't consistent enough. I think Root had 2 noughts and a 1 and a couple of single-digit scores.
You can't have a man of the series in a losing team, surely.
Well, you shouldn't, but it could happen. It could happen. I mean, it's a very sad indictment on your teammates if it does happen. But,
absolutely.
But I think Starkey for sure, 100%. But then, we don't have Cummins, we don't have Hazelwood. I don't know if Lyon's going to play a lot of Test cricket moving forward after this injury.
He looks in a bit of trouble, I think.
He's not getting any younger. So that's an issue. Not picking a spinner in Sydney. Not being a specialist spinner in Sydney, first time in 120 years that's happened.
Yeah.
I think that says a bit about the attitudes of captain and selectors, but I actually think it says a lot about the lack of spinning stocks in the country.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So I don't know. I mean, we've got a crop of really, really high quality bowlers that are about to retire at a similar time.
Yep.
So, yeah. We've been there before, but, I think that's sort of a little bit of a warning sign.
Yeah. But, I mean, because I watch a little bit of the Big Bash and there are some good quality bowlers in the Big Bash as well. So I think we do have, and they're not the quality of, Stark, Hazelwood, Cummins and Nathan Lyon, but they're still reasonably good cricketers. I mean, Bartlett up in Brisbane, he plays for the Heat.
Yeah, Xavier Bartlett. Yeah, I mean, he's good.
Xavier Bartlett,
he's good.
He's good.
But you'd need to see these guys performing with the red ball in Shield cricket with long spells, not 2 over, 4 over spells in 2020 where you're banging it in and bowling wide Yorkers. The beauty of Scotty Boland, he's hitting the top of off stump just continuously, and that's where you need to be. And that's a different type of bowling. The Big Bash.
It was the first time he played 5 tests.
It is
in over a season.
In a series.
So
yeah.
He's normally sort of in and out as the reserve bowler if someone's injured, and given that Hazelwood was injured for the whole series, he got a chance to play a full series, which I think was really good for him.
He did, and he played very, very well. But again, he's probably in the very much twilight of his career. So, I don't know how many more summers Scotty Boland's going to be running around at that level. Hopefully a couple more. But, interesting to see. But Andy Walker, that's a 23-minute wrap-up on the Ashes to kick off the new year.
Yeah, and it is a golf show.
Welcome to the Missing Links cricket show.
Yeah. But look, I think cricket, and I would say sort of cricket, in Australia, it's like baseball in the US, right? It's such a big part of our lives that, something like this and something as momentous as an Ashes win in this style, it would be remiss of us not to have a conversation about it.
Oh, for sure. One last remark that I would make on the Ashes summer was that how good was it to see a classic old school test match for the 5th test played out over 5 days as in large part due to some nice work by the groundsman preparing a really good test pitch. Not this rubbish that we saw served up in other parts of the country. But that was...
Yeah, I agree with that.
That allowed some of the players to actually demonstrate their skill set and express themselves, I think, in a way that they weren't able to do in a couple of the other test matches. So,
I agree with that.
Didn't go quite so long. But anyway, golf. Andy Walker, let's talk about golf because it is the Missing Links Golf Show for 2026. It's exciting. And I think the first thing that we need to do, to be honest, is to wrap up the results of the yearly championship from 2025.
It's probably a good place to start. I'm pretty confident that I didn't win.
I am also confident that you didn't win.
Didn't get off to the best start.
Yeah. So after this, we will have a bit of a chat about the round of golf that we played at the wonderful fairways of Kooindah Waters. You and I had a chance to catch up just after Christmas. with friend of the show, listener Pilgrim, and previous guest Mick Patterson as well. So that was a bit of an occasion, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a moment. But firstly, I think we need to talk about the results. So you might recall last month that it was down to 2. There were 2 players who were able to still win, which was James Armstrong from the United Kingdom and Kerrod Purcell from Australia.
Yes.
A little bit like a mini Ashes, which is exciting. So there wasn't a lot in it, and it was going down to the wire. So we'll see how it goes for those 2 characters in December. But going into the results, we had a...
So just before we get into the results, what was the point score for James and KP?
James was on 54.
54,
and Kerrod was on 48 points.
Okay, so 6 points in it, right?
Yeah, so basically Kerrod had to come first or second, and then depending on where James ended up, would make that mathematically possible or impossible for him to then win. Okay. So let's go through it. We actually had quite a lot of entries in December. So if you don't hear your name called out, then you'll know that you've finished outside the points, and probably the scores will indicate to you why that was the case. So in 6th place, we actually had a countback for 6th and 7th.
Okay.
And you weren't in that countback, Andy Walker.
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
Given I didn't get above 30 points in either round that I played in December, I'm not overly surprised, even though we do know we went through a couple of episodes ago, 29 points. Did get into the
it has
standings.
Not this month.
One of the months.
Not this month. In this month, 31 points was the countback for 6th and 7th. And that was 31 points was achieved by Matt Woodbridge and also Mick Patterson. Now, it went to a countback, and in the countback, both Matt and Mick had 16 points on the back 9.
Right. So it was tight. It was
still tight. So that means that we go to a front 9 countback, and it will surprise you to hear Andy Walker that it was still...
I mean, that's probably the most useless step I've ever heard.
Yeah, but I love it so much. It's so good. So they were both locked together still at 15 apiece.
Wow, that's such a surprise.
On the front 9. It's amazing. I wait for a day when we when we actually can separate them from a front 9 countback. That would be outstanding. If that ever happens, then the maths ain't mathin'. So we go to the 18th hole, and on the 18th hole, Matt made a 1-pointer.
Ooh.
Mick made a 2-pointer.
Well done, Mick.
To take the win. Well, I call it a win. 6th place.
It's the point.
1 point, which it's an important point though, because it doubles Mick's tally in the yearly championship and gets him up to a total of 2 points, which I know he'll be excited about. Well done, Mick. All righty. So
just out of interest, how many points did I finish with?
4 points for the year. So
sorry, just say that again.
4 points. So you've given Mick
and Mick, how many points did Mick?
2 points for Mick. So
okay. Yeah.
You've given him an absolute shellacking.
So I scored double the points that Mick did.
Yeah,
the championship.
It was 4-2. And if he'd lost that countback, it would have been 4-1, which was the same score as the Ashes. So that's the best I've got on a segue. So
nice.
So that was 6th. In 5th place. Wow, that's amazing. This has been quite a month. In 5th place with 2 points to his yearly championship tally with 35 Stableford points. So that's quite a jump.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's 4 points.
Yeah, quite a jump. Feeling slightly hard done by. That was my round of golf on New Year's Eve. So that gives me an additional 2 yearly championship points, which puts me on 24 and level on 24 with Donny from Bathurst. So, yeah, there you go.
Well, I mean, he's a great player, so you'd be pretty happy with that result, surely.
There's a reason why handicaps exist in golf. So in fourth place, now, third and fourth was a countback on 36 points. And losing that countback, and I will tell you what the scores were if you give me a moment, with 17 of his points on the back nine, was Lucas Anderson. Not from Western Australia, but in fact from South Australia.
Yep, thanks for that.
So he takes 3 yearly championship points, which moves him to 30, and he finishes in third place.
Okay, that's good. That's a good result
for the year. So that's a pretty good effort. Well done. We know Lucas was a little bit gutted to find out that he actually couldn't win the yearly championship in, I think it was November or October. But anyway, still very, very solid performance. So pipping him into third and getting 5 yearly championship points to double his tally and having 21 of his 36 points on the back nine, Jeremy Dixon from Australia, New South Wales, as a matter of fact.
Well done, Jeremy.
Nice work, Dicko. So there were 2. And
neither of the top 2 names have come out yet. So I'm very interested to know whether one or both are in the top 2.
It's a countback.
For the win. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So locked together on 39 points.
Yep.
Big Kerrod Purcell from Australia.
Well done, KP.
And the next name that I read out is going to decide the yearly champion.
Because so first of all, where did KP come in the countback? Did he win or did he come second?
I'll come to this. Because regardless of where he comes in first or second, if the other player in the countback is not James Armstrong, then Kerrod wins the yearly championship. If the other player is James Armstrong, then he wins the yearly championship. Let that sink in. So locked together on 39 points.
Have we got a drum roll? Surely we've got to have some sound effect drum roll.
I'm pretty sure I've got one somewhere in the sound effects kit.
Yeah. Cool.
So let's put that in. Drum roll. In the countback between Kerrod Purcell and James Armstrong from England, both on 39 points. The winner, now I'm actually going to take a stand on this, okay? So just pause for a moment on the outcome, but the stand that I'm taking on this is I've said on a number of occasions, please give me Stableford scores and please give them to me broken down front nine, back nine so that I can effectively do the countbacks. So on this one, I didn't get Stableford scores, and sorry, James, I'm not going to go in and convert your stroke scores to Stableford on your behalf. So you're losing the countback on this, and I'm taking the stand and giving it to Kerrod. I actually don't know which way around it would have gone anyway. It could have been Kerrod. So Kerrod wins, and the reason that I'm okay to take the stand is because it has absolutely no bearing on the yearly championship outcome at this point.
Yeah. So here's the question: if it did, would you have gone and done the countback, or
I would have.
Do you reckon you would have?
I would have, because I'm a nice bloke. But please, you would have no idea how much admin that is. Just do it yourself. If otherwise, because we've had the grace of this year, next year it'll be just an outright straight loss if you don't give me Stableford scores.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
So anyway, that's my soapbox. So congratulations, KP, on taking the month, and that takes him to 58 points in total. Coming second to James Armstrong, who's 7 points for his second place, takes him to a total of 61, which is a 3-point win across the year. Amazing. What a competition.
Well done, James.
Great work. Fantastic effort. So, round of applause, sound effect. I think we've got one of them. So there you go. That's the yearly championship for 2025. So let's kick it off for 2026. Andy Walker, do you want to go around again?
Yeah, let's go around again. I mean, I think we've got a couple of other ideas which we might discuss as well. So there's we've been throwing some other options out there and having some discussions. So we will get to those. Maybe a little bit later in the show, or maybe next week. We'll see how we go for time.
I think we might need to think it through just a little bit more just yet, but we can allude to them, that's for sure. It is a fantastic event, so please go around again. We'll put another note in the Facebook page. Obviously, there'll be a congratulations to James, which I think it would be great if everyone could pile on and, definitely send you congratulations. But invite a friend. Spread the word. Let's get this competition even bigger for the next year because it's a whole lot of fun. That is my request. Alrighty. Andy Walker, yearly championship run and done. Where to next? Do we go to the round at Kooindah? We're
going to talk about our round of golf at Kooindah, yeah.
Yeah, what a day that was. It was the 27th. It's a great day out. So you and me, Mick Patterson, and another member of Kooindah, Jeff, who was, I've got to say, he was great company. So.
Yeah. He was, and he was a good golfer. A few years back, he's had a few injuries and some time away from the game and all the rest, but he's looking to start to play some more. Quite interestingly, worked in the same pro shop as one of the juniors when I was down at Mollymook playing. I wasn't a junior at that stage, but as I was sort of coming through my younger years, there was another junior girl down there, and she ended up moving to Sydney and working in the same pro shop as what Jeff did. So yeah, small world, but
he knew his stuff too.
The golf community, there's not many people who don't know each other in the golfing community, especially when you sort of get to that sort of representative professional level.
Yeah. I mean, he knew his stuff. I was super impressed. He was able to pick the fact that I was actually a right-hander masquerading as a left-hander just by some of my mannerisms out on the course. And that, certainly indicates that that's someone that knows what they're looking at, and also gave me cause for concern that he was actually paying that much attention to what I was doing out there. But anyway, that's a story for another day. But no, it was a good day. I mean, look, the golf was not amazing. I don't think we're going to bore everyone with a shot-by-shot analysis of what took place. No. I managed to scrape together 29 points, Mick 31. I think Jeff had 26. And Andy Walker, if I remember correctly, he might have accumulated around about 24 points for the round. So
yeah, I think it might have been 23 actually, but and anyway, 23, 24. I don't think it really makes too much difference.
No.
I mean, look, I got off to a reasonable start, and I was going okay through sort of 7 or 8 holes, but then I started having a few little issues with my wrist again, which started to hurt a bit. And I didn't say a lot sort of during the round, but I know that you noticed, and we had a little bit of a chat about it. And by the end of it, and this is sort of something that I rarely, if ever, do. I'd pretty much mentally ejected from the round.
Yes.
Sort of, halfway through the back 9, I just had enough. I was and not from a company perspective. The company was great, but more so, had some concerns about the wrist. It hurt at different times through especially when I pulled out the driver. There was a drive at 16, which I sort of bailed out of, but it still really, really hurt. And going to go see a hand and wrist specialist at the end of the month just to try and get this sorted.
Yeah, it's not ideal. I felt we were making progress in the tail end of last year, so it's kind of pretty disappointing, really, to hear that you've gone back a step. on this one.
Yeah, and I don't know whether it's because I did indulge a fair bit over Christmas, and not that has an impact on arthritis or osteoarthritis itself, but it's more so the inflammation around the arthritis, because I'd been on the straight and narrow, I hadn't been drinking alcohol, my diet had been exceptionally good. So if you're not eating inflammatory food, then obviously that's going to help when it comes to those sorts of injuries. And I was playing fairly, reasonably pain free throughout sort of the latter months of 2025, and then I think the combination of not really sort of looking after myself from a diet perspective through Christmas. But then, as we had a quick chat about before we jumped on the microphones, I did a fair bit of work around my house as well over Christmas, and mainly landscaping work and some pretty sort of physically challenging work as well. I know I never sort of went into the trades for a reason.
Yeah.
It's not something that, while I feel as though, for someone who works in finance, I'm pretty good on the tools. It's not something I'd want to do full time. I'll leave that to the professionals. But I did say that a few years back when I did all the landscaping at our house in Sydney, that I wouldn't jump on the tools again. And here I am 2 houses later, still jumping on the tools. So I really need to have a look at that and make a commitment to look after myself, I think, a bit better.
Pay someone else, Andy Walker. Part of it as well is having the right tools to do the jobs, and oftentimes you don't realise how much harder you make it for yourself manually by not having the right gear to do jobs. Yeah. Anyway,
and look, it's also difficult as well. Well, not difficult, but it's a decision that you've got to make. Where, look, I bought probably $3,000 worth of materials to do the work around the house, and I reckon I've saved around about $15,000 in labour costs.
Sure, and you would have.
Yeah, and you sit there and you go, all right, well, I've saved $15,000 in the space of a couple of weeks, and probably added a fair bit of value to the house, but at what cost? And that's the thing. And I don't know how much of it contributed. So certainly it contributed every night to me being very, very sore. But how much did it contribute to me not being able to swing that well on the 27th? And look, I'm sure it did contribute. But yeah, I think moving forward, it's one of those things that I've got to really commit to looking after myself, as I said, a lot better and making the right decisions at that time.
No, that all makes sense. Anyway, hopefully there is a solution and something that you can come up with pretty quickly, because it would be good getting you back out there playing golf and playing good golf sooner rather than later.
Yeah. So as I said, I've got the appointment on the 30th of January. And I'm a bit fortunate that I do have some private healthcare cover, so I'm able to get into a private sort of surgeon to see him and have a bit of a chat, and hopefully we'll get it sorted out. But I'll keep the Pilgrims updated.
Very good.
As to what the progress is.
Very good. Now, I know we said we wouldn't go through a shot-by-shot analysis of this round, and we certainly will not do that, but there probably is one shot that we need to debrief.
Yes.
And I think, if memory serves me correctly, it was on the third tee box.
Yeah, it was on the third tee.
And, you'd hit one sort of trying to get over those trees on the left-hand side of the fairway with your driving iron. I hit one down the fairway, just short of the fairway bunker on the right-hand side.
Yep.
And then Mick had an opportunity to step up onto the tee box. And Andy Walker, I'll let you take us through what on earth happened.
Well, look, I think Mick actually made a reasonable swing.
Looked good.
Because it sounded good off the club face.
It also sounded good off something else.
Around about, it probably would have been 80 to 100 metres off the tee.
It's a fair way. I was trying to think of how far it would be, and I was thinking it was at least 50 metres forward of the tee box, probably more, yeah.
And there was this fairly decently sized tree with a branch that overhangs the right hand side of the fairway.
Nice big eucalypt.
And Mick's ball has collected this branch right in the middle. And talking about cricket, if you listen to, especially with the 2020, or I mean, baseball would probably be something similar.
Yep.
When the batter stands up and absolutely cracks the ball and sort of goes out to the outfield, clears the fence, there's that sound and it's a crack. And it's very, very unique, where you've just collected the ball right out of the middle of the club. Well, I can guarantee that Mick's ball collected right the dead centre of this branch.
It sure did.
Because it has shot up probably, 50 to 70 metres into the air, landed, 5 metres in front of him?
No, it was behind him.
But I think did it land in front of him? And
I'm pretty
bounced?
sure it landed behind him. As I remember, this was my personal experience of the incident. Mix hit it off the tee, and it was going towards that overhanging branch, and then we heard that almighty crack that you described.
Yeah.
And then I was standing there, and I'm thinking, where did it go? Has it dropped onto the fairway?
I saw it. I saw the first part of it go straight up into the air, coming hard back at us.
Yeah, I didn't realise it was coming back at us, and this was why I think it's landed behind it, because my recollection is that it's hit it, and I'm going, where did it go? Where did it go? And then I was looking at Mick to get a gauge on his response and see the ball lob back over his head. That's now I could be wrong. I could be putting a bit of mayonnaise on the story, but it's that's how I remember it. But it ended up about 20 metres behind the tee markers.
It did.
Yeah.
And I now have two great photos of Mick lining up his second shot on the third tee box, about 20 metres behind the tee area, and hitting his second from negative 20 metres.
It's so good. Got to put them on the Facebook page. Let everyone have an opportunity to have a look at that. And I think from memory,
it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
It was so good. It was so good. I think from memory though, he ended up making bogey on the hole. So he's basically he should have
made
just
par with his second ball.
He should have just teed it up 20 metres behind the markers to start with and made par from that. But yeah, that was awesome. That was a lot of fun. I was happy to see that, Mick. Well done. Thanks for providing a little bit of entertainment in an otherwise pretty ordinary day of golf.
It was an ordinary day of golf, but anyway, it was a lot of fun. And look, we had went up to the clubhouse and had pizzas and a few drinks afterwards, and the families joined us, and we actually had a really good night.
Yeah, no, it was awesome.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
That Jeff initially said he was going to needed to get home to the wife and family.
I don't know that we can say this out loud, actually. I'm not sure.
No, but we've convinced him to come in for a couple, and we had a really good chat on the deck on the balcony. It was at Kooindah. It was a really, really good afternoon. So thanks, gentlemen. It was great.
It was awesome. And if Mrs. Jeff is listening, and he went straight.
Highly unlikely, I think.
He went straight home. Honestly, we tried to get him to come in. He wouldn't come in. He went straight home, as promised. No, that's amazing. So a good day out and a lot of fun and a nice way to kind of finish the year. I did have one more round after that to finish the year, but it was a nice way of wrapping things up, which was very cool. Now, your wrist. We've had a bit of an update. Is there anything further that you need to cover on the wrist?
Not really.
scenario?
I mean, it has settled down a little bit. I've hit a few shots in the high performance center, and it is quite sore. Only really sort of 6-iron and 7-irons that I've hit. Although I did have a decent session about probably 3 or 4 days ago, which I won't talk about yet. But certainly in the sort of week and a half after that round of golf, I did try and hit a few balls in there, and it was a little bit sore. But yeah, it has gotten a little bit better to a point where I've been able to hit my fairway and driving iron. It's still I can feel it, so it's not right, and I don't want to push it too much. But Yeah, I think it's, for me, I'm happy to do sort of some short game stuff. I've been working on a few positions.
Mm,
with the
mm.
stack stick, I can sort of get in here and just in the lounge room. Got a pretty big lounge room, so I can just work on some movements and positions throughout my swing. So I've been doing that. Actually been watching a few YouTube University videos. So got some interesting insights out of that. A little bit of TPI, so
Oh, yeah.
Titleist Performance Institute stuff, and more so around force plates. Just listening to Dr. Rose,
Mm.
Dr. Greg Rose, talk about force plates and what he views with force plates, which I find quite interesting. So I've been doing sort of those sorts of things rather than actually sort of playing or pushing it too much. So I think it all hinges on what happens with this appointment later in the month with the hand and wrist surgeon.
Yeah, definitely. Intriguing stuff. Particularly intrigued about some of the extra information that you're alluding to regarding High Performance Centre, which certainly a future topic. But on that topic, I do have a High Performance Centre update for you, Andy Walker, and Pilgrims.
Yes, and a very exciting one at that.
Oh, it's more than exciting, I think, to be honest. So the tech setup in my High Performance Centre has been upgraded over the Christmas period with some really, really high quality work on the Santa wish list. So quite excited about that. And I did manage to sell the Garmin R10, which
Nice.
was good. So, not about the money, but it's good that it's going to go to use with someone else who's. Yeah. I've had some feedback; they're loving it, so that's great. But I, like you, have moved on to the Square launch monitor,
Nice.
Andy Walker.
Nice.
So that's super exciting. I've only so far had one opportunity to kind of have a little bit of a go with it in what I'd refer to as a get to know you session. And mate, I was super impressed, both with how easy it is to use and to set up and to get going.
Yeah, it is.
And the fact that it just sits there next to you rather than 2.5 meters behind you just makes the whole setup in the High Performance Centre that much more compact and that much easier. It was. I thought I was only using it with a pitching wedge at the time, but I thought it was pretty accurate in terms of the numbers and what it was spitting out. Loved it. Really excited to get into it a little bit more, set it up with a projector and, get things going a little bit more completely. So it's exciting times for the Missing Links Golf Show High Performance Centre Central West.
So were you using the wedge module, the pitching module, or were you using the full module?
I was just in the driving range setup.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Yeah. Because what I've found with the Square, and I think we've sort of covered this off before, is that I'm not necessarily convinced about the full shots, but certainly with the wedges and short game module, I'm really, really happy with it, and I'm really, really stoked with how it performs.
Yeah, I mean, I look forward to getting stuck into it. I'm looking forward to exploring the different things. I know there's a nearest the pin setup that you can do. There's courses you can play. There's all sorts of different things you can do. But I think just ease of use, I'm going to use it more because it's that much easier to use than setting up the Garmin. That was just a little bit clunky. And I think the accuracy, I'm hoping, is going to be a bit better. I love the fact that I'm now in a situation where I can actually do wedges because I've got the net high enough to hit all of my wedges. And as you know, we've talked about this. My biggest area of focus over the next 12 months has got to be inside 100 metres. So, I just think that's got a lot to offer with game improvement for me in the near future.
Yeah. You've got a lot of low-hanging fruit in that range.
Yeah, and when you look at strokes gain data, we'll probably go through this in the next couple of episodes where we talk about plans for 2026. Short game and putting, it's just I could shave 5 shots off there if I got fair dinkum about it.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I agree with that. And putting, I think, is something that I think from your stroke is fine.
Mm.
I really think you need to get to know the tool read system. I know you bought and committed to the tool read system last year and sort of haven't really sort of gone too deep into it, but I think green reading is an area that you can really work on, and that will help your putting no end. And then if you can use the high performance center to be able to really zone in on those wedge distances, I think that you're going to shave a lot of strokes off your handicap.
That's definitely the focus. So that's kind of my exciting update, that I think there's going to be a lot to come of that. I like the fact that we're both on the same launch monitor platform. I'm hoping that might enable us to do some interesting things in coming months. Stay tuned, pilgrims. So, whether or not, we can come up with some sort of competitive approach to that, I think that might be good, because, anyone that's been listening to the show for the last 108 episodes will probably understand that there's just a little bit of competition between the two of us that happens every now and then.
Just a bit.
Then we don't mind getting stuck into. So, so that's kind of my update, Andy Walker.
Nice. Well, it's always good when Santa's good to you over that Christmas period. So always good to have some new tech.
Yeah, it is exciting.
So you were obviously, you didn't actually get to play any holes as such with the Square.
Not yet,
because it does actually, and you need to buy credits with the Square. I think it comes with like 1,000 credits or something, but then you actually, in order to play simulated golf, you need to buy credits to play simulated golf. Yeah,
I believe so. But I think if I'm going to go down that path, I would probably be looking at a third-party software platform like Awesome Golf or GS Pro or something along those lines if I'm going to play courses. But again, I think we're going to talk about that in future episodes, so we won't go too far down that path at the moment. I wouldn't mind doing what I can access just at the moment through the Square to, kind of get a bit of a feel for it. But I think, there's huge opportunity for doing some fun stuff.
Yeah. And what I was alluding to before is that I have hooked up my Awesome Golf subscription to the Square launch monitor. And to be honest with you, I hadn't really thought much about it, because about 12 months ago, I bought a lifetime subscription to Awesome Golf. I was paying a monthly subscription, and then they offered a pretty deeply discounted lifetime subscription, which I took up, and that was when I had the Garmin. But when I got out here to the new place and set the high performance center up in the Colorbond shed, and the Garmin didn't work, and then I sold the Garmin, I didn't really think too much about Awesome Golf after that, because it was for a specific purpose. But yeah, a little bit before Christmas, I decided to have a bit of a look at Awesome Golf again. I saw the icon on my laptop and thought, I might just go and have a look at this, because I saw it pop up that does support Square. So over Christmas, I did change, and I had to go through the support of Awesome Golf, and they were great. They just switched over the lifetime subscription to the Square launch monitor. And about 3 or 4 days ago, I actually played 9 holes of simulated golf. My first 9 holes of simulated golf. So, and that I enjoyed that a lot more than what I thought I would. To be honest with you, I always was sort of thought that I would use the launch monitor and the software purely for practice and just for the numbers, just for the data. But I actually really enjoyed playing simulated golf. Now, I didn't putt. And I'm actually not sure if you can putt through Awesome Golf. I was just sort of having an initial sort of play around with it with the Square, but I'm going to do a little bit of research into exactly what I can do with Awesome Golf, because with the lifetime license, there's quite a few courses that they've got in their in their software that I can access as part of the lifetime subscription. So I'm pretty excited about having my Awesome Golf subscription connected up to the Square Launch Monitor and maybe playing a little bit of simulator golf.
Yeah, it's awesome, as the name suggests.
Yep.
That was an accident. But I think that's going to be a topic for future episodes for us to dive into in a bit more detail as both of us learn a bit more about it, because we're kind of at novice level right now. But it's cool. And, you know, I think as we get into the winter months and we can play a little bit less outdoors and certainly can't play 9 holes on a physical course after work like I can at the moment, then the simulator setup, getting that pumping for winter, that's going to be a game changer. That'll be awesome.
Yeah,
that'll be so good.
For sure.
So good. So, all right. Well, I think Andy Walker, that leads us to the end of our list for the first episode for 2026. Yep.
Looking forward to the year. Hopefully get this issue with the wrist sorted out, and I'll be able to play a bit more golf. So I think next week we'll probably go through some plans and some schedules for the year. Mine has changed a bit. I was sort of looking when the Golf New South Wales event calendar came out in November. I had a bit of a look through, and I had quite a lot of events as highlighted that I'd really like to target, but that sort of changed a little bit and a bit up in the air. So I've looked further down into the year, and I've still got a few marked, but probably the most disappointing one is the New South Wales Senior Amateur, which is sort of the first week of March. I would say it's unlikely that I will play in that.
First week of March, I don't think qualify anyway on handicap. However, I probably wouldn't be able to play anyway because I've got a work trip to Western Australia that week.
Yeah, and it's not in Western Australia.
The New South Wales Senior Am. No, I wouldn't have expected so.
No.
And Lucas Anderson, if you'd like to catch up whilst I'm in Western Australia, then I'd be happy to say good day. Except you're in South Australia, so that's not going to work out.
I mean, he may want to take the trip over to Western Australia, but
I don't think I'm going to be able to take the clubs anyway because it is a work trip. But that's all good. Look, here we are for 2026, Andy Walker, as we move into the year, so everyone gets back into the stride of work. And as you might be able to tell by the rambling nature of our conversation, we've not been doing a lot of work over this period. But have you got any advice, Andy Walker, for the Pilgrims at this point as we move into 2026?
Look, I think that, 2026 is there's just really going to be one main theme this year.
Only one?
Only one.
Okay. And?
Rock out, Pilgrims.
Thanks for listening to us today. We love hearing from our Pilgrims, so please reach out to us through any of the links in the show notes. We know golf is hard, so we hope we can help you shoot better scores and inspire you to keep trying. Rock on, Pilgrims.